Anyway, I'll pause.
So we make it. There we go. We make a start. Sam is here. He's on the chat. If you have any questions, if you jump onto the chat, he will do his best to answer you. Um. So right, invoicing. So there's certain things you can do with invoicing. The first thing I'm going to talk about is customizing your invoices. So in CoolCare, there is a section for invoicing, and in that section, you can change what your export program might be. So what you want to export your invoices to. You can use Access Dimension, NetSuite, Open Accounts, PSF, Sage 200 Cloud, Sage Intact, Sage Line 200, Sage Line 50, Sun and Zero. You can also, for your printed invoices, have different templates. We do have 8 different templates, some with logos, some without, some for headed paper, and some without headed paper. You can also set what your invoice header description is going to look like. And I can do that from invoice header. I can do that for invoice item descriptions and invoice item exported descriptions. We also give you variables that you can use that you can put in to these descriptions to pull information directly from CoolCare. You can also have your logo, so you can have your logo, so that can appear on your invoices as well. You can set headers and footers, so you can have your cash headers, your cash footers, so for your checks, standing orders. You can also have it so that the home, if you want, if you have more than one home, you can have it so homes could actually use or set their own footers, just their footers. They can set their own footers if they wish. And you can also include any tax codes you want to put in. So, and then for the tax codes, you can have your different descriptions. So T2 could be 5%, T1 could be 15%, whatever it might be. So you can also have your email invoices, so you can set those up as well. So you can have who the reply should go to. You can BCC, and you can create a body for for your email that invoices would be attached to. As well as doing that, to make life a bit easier for you, to stop you having to every time you put in, say, a fee contract, and type in the details of, say, Leeds City Council or whatever, or Leeds NHS Trust. You can have a list of these already set in CoolCare. Over here, I can have a list of the different people that I send my kind of bills to. So I can go, let's look at Leeds City Council, for instance. So in here, I can have it. So I can set for Leeds City Council, I can set stuff like billing addition days on debt. So maybe that's 2 for Leeds City Council, but maybe it's 3 for the NHS Trust. So I can have different rules. Bill additional days when cannot meet needs. Again, I could have maybe 2 for Leeds, but maybe Leeds NHS Trust would be 3. Not only can you set those kind of rules, you can also set rules here for absent fee reductions. So what I can do here is I can say, if the person is absent for, say, 10 days, there's a 5% reduction. If they're absent for 20 days, there's a 10% reduction. Yep. I can get that to go in. There we go. And you can have as many rules as that, as you want. So for Leeds City Council, you can have one set of rules, but then you can have a separate one. If I go back here for a second, then for, I would say Harrow, just make it completely different. For Harrow, I could have a different set of rules for Harrow. Maybe that's 3, and that's 3. You can also put in, obviously, the address of the payer. You can put in the way that they normally pay the bills. So I could say Harrow pay unit month, the first day of every month by backs. But if I was to go back here to Leeds, I could have it Leeds do fixed days, and they do it every on the 28th day. So I can have different rules. I can save these. I don't have to put the information in every time. But some of your payers will be private. They won't be the councils or NHS trusts. And for those, if I jump back, you can see you can have one that's private. With the private ones, You can set your days on debt. You can set your when can I meet needs, and you can set your absent fee reductions. But this, of course, could be different for different private people. So if you have a case where you have a group of people who are paying like privately, and that group always have a you always bill 2 days on debt, and another group that maybe bill 3 days on debt, another group you can't bill any days on debt. You have to set up more than one private. A private 2, a private 3, maybe a private 0. So you can pick the right one. Obviously, there's no address because the address would change depending on the private individual. Okay, so if you have those set, we can have a look at the actual residence record. So if I go to resident, and if I go to, I think it's Maureen I want. Oh, I'm on Sam's home. Sorry, Sam. I'll jump onto mine. Maureen Cusack. Let's go and look at Maureen. First thing to notice with Maureen when I go into her fee contracts is that she has lots of warnings here. So resident has billable extras, but does not have a designated billable extra account. Tells us when the contract is due to next be sent out. And also here it shows me fee contributions that do not match. So you can see anything that's wrong, anything it sees that's wrong, it will warn you about it. And if I come down here, I can see this person's bill has been paid by 2 different people. It's been paid by the local authority and it's also been paid by next of kin. So if I click in here, select on the local authority one, I can see straight away that I have different tabs up here. General will give me general information about the actual contract itself. But here, if I go to overrides, I can override certain things. So for this single resident, I can have a different invoice footer text. For this single resident, I can have a different invoice header, invoice item text, invoice item, export description with the codes again, and nominal codes and back codes. So no matter what it's set up for the particular group that's paying this person's account, I can actually override some of those and put individual ones in. I can also do contribution changes, so I can show what the contribution changes are and keep a record of those. I can add ad hoc invoices, ad hoc items. So I might want to add 2 extra items to this particular invoice, just one-off items only for this month. I can do that. And account details, that just shows me the details of Leeds City Council account, wherever it happens to be. Not only can I do that, I can also show my billable extras. So with my billable extras, I can go to my billable extras. I can come down here, and you can see one of the errors it was given was that I hadn't said which the bill of account was. So I haven't said if it's Leeds or Amanda, but I put that on just to show you the errors. But you can see here as well, you can have multiple items on your billable extra. Let me just give it something here to make it happy. There we go. Yes, I can have multiple items. So although it's one billable extra, I can put multiple items onto that invoice if I wish. Right. Let's actually look at the invoicing itself. So if I go to invoicing, I can see here's my things waiting to be for invoices to be created, and I have my processing date. I have my contracts and billable extras. There you go. And I might only do contracts. I might want to do my billable extras, or I could do billable extras only. I can even have a separate date, so I could billable extra codes only up to that date. Now, there's nothing I can do here until I do pre-processing. Once I do pre-processing, this screen will change slightly and I get extra buttons down the bottom. So I have to do that. If I do pre-processing, it will show me. Some of mine are a bit rubbish, but if we come down here, we might be able to find something on here. I did have some when I did this before. There's one there. So it will kind of gives you a readable version, so you can just check to make sure that the invoices look okay. Now this isn't what's going to be sent out. This is just a view, so you can check them before you proceed. If I go back to CoolCare, you'll find I've got extra buttons. I've got batch process all invoices or batch process selected invoices. Normally what you do is batch process all, so it'll process all the invoices. I'm going to just select some. Oh, by the way, all these ones here with these little triangles, these are all ones that have warnings. So there's something wrong with all of those. So you can click on that, you can check it before you actually do them. Hopefully you won't have as many as wrong as I have. But I'm going to just select some here that I can send out. There's way fewer than there was the last time I did this, but let's give it a go and see how we get on. So if I come down here, I am going to batch process selected invoices. There's my process button. That's better. Okay, so this takes me now to all my invoices that I have to deal with. So here are my invoices. I can see that I can print them, I can import them. What it means import them, it means export them so that we can import it into a Xero or Sage or whatever it might be. And I've also got email here. So I'm going to just show you how the three different options work. These ones here, by the way, I've already said that's been printed. I've said that's been emailed as well. You'd usually only have one. It'd be printed. You usually wouldn't have double, but it's just when I do training, I double up on things. But let's just pick these two here. Well, first of all, let's look at ones that are waiting to be imported. So these are ones that won't have a tick in that box there. So I'm going to do that. Here we go. And let's say we pick those two there. In fact, those three. I'm going to pick 460, 461, 462. I'm now going to export them out. Hopefully. Okay. There we go. So if I export them, I can send out my transaction file, and that will send the information out to Excel. Now, that file may open up automatically in your machine. You may have to click at the bottom to open it, but when you do, it will look not exactly like this, but just to show that it has gone out. It has sent it out. Now, it'll depend on what program you have. If you're exporting to Sage, if you're exporting to Xero, the export file that we created may be different. Let's jump back to CoolCare. Now that I've actually exported those, I need to mark them. So what I'll do is, if I come up here to the top, there they are. I'm actually going to say, right, I want you to mark selected as imported to be exported. Yes. Yeah. If I go back now and show all, there we go. You can see those three there have now been marked. 60, 61, 62 have now been marked as being imported for export. Right, okay, or exported for import. The same with kind of printing. If I do the same, if I have a look for those ones waiting to be printed. There we go. We'll take, I'm just going to use the same ones. So you'd obviously be using different ones, but I'm going to just take these same ones here. So 462, 461, and we'll use 454 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to actions, and I'm going to print select it. When I print select it, it will give you a display of what the print is going to look like. What this looks like depends on which template you've chosen. You could then print those out. I go back to CoolCare. What I can do here is I can go and mark selected as printed. I think with the invoices, I marked them all, but I'm going to mark selected as printed. There we go. Those three vanish. If I go back to filter and I'll show all, I'll now see these ones here are marked as printed. 462, 461, and the other one I think was 454 down here. The last option I've got here is to email. So what I'm going to do with the email is I'm going to have a look and see how I need to be emailed. Hopefully I have waiting to be emailed. I'm going to apply that. Yeah, I have some because I have me marked here as emailed. We'll pick those ones there. 400, 451, 453. So again, I go to my actions. I say email selected. Now I don't have to go and filter, mark these as being done. It will do it automatically. There you go. So I'm going to send that. You'll notice it disappears straight away from here. If I go back to show, oh, sorry, we are on show all. There you go. There's 460, 457. I'm trying to find the ones we sent out. 451 was one, but here they are. They're the ones that have been emailed. You don't have to mark them yourself. It does it for you. There are also some reports that are here to help and support you with your invoicing. They're here, fees and contract reports. Fee descriptions, if I click on that, that will create an Excel file for me. If I share that with you, that shows me name of the home, the residence name, admission date and discharge date. It shows me the funding type, care type, permanency. But the big thing I'm interested in at the end, it shows me what the current weekly fee is, and then it shows me what the actual total is. So I can see with these, you can see a whole lot that haven't been set up properly. This one here, the way more is coming in than is been asked for. You can see that a mistake is obviously made there, but it does. You can see that you can then go and you can alter that. If we go back to CoolCare, we also have our missing contracts, and that one, very simply, I'm just waiting for it to load, will show you all the ones. I just jumped to the end because the star fields are basically the same. So it shows you what is expected, what the currently weekly shortfall is, what the currently daily fee is, and then what the loss is. So because these have no contracts, I'm losing all the money that should be coming in. But again, it's showing you the person's name and their details, so you can go and chase that down. If I jump back to CoolCare, residence by funding, that just simply shows you all the residents, and it puts in what the funding type is, and then you can sort it by the funding type. The one thing about, though, I suppose you can do with this one is you can choose all funding types, or you can choose individual ones. So you can look at all the ones for NHLs, all the ones for private. Invoice analysis, that will let you show what's happened with the invoices you've sent out. So let's say I've done the ones for January. I'm going to just check what's happened with those. And with those January ones, I can see the name of a group. I can see the invoice number. I can see the account ref. I can see the home name. I can see Sage department if applicable. I can see the residence number if you number your residents. I can see the name of the resident. I can see the name of the payer. I can see the invoice date. I can see the start date and end date. I can see if it's been printed or if it's been imported, exported for import, who it's being invoiced to, so the invoice total, how much we've received, was the invoice fully paid, and how the payment happened. Now, you probably do your reconciliation more than likely in Sage or in Xero or wherever it might be. But if you did want to do your reconciliation inside CoolCare, you can
Sorry, Derek,
do it.
we can't see the report. You didn't change your
Oh,
screen.
thank you
Someone
very
just
much.
mentioned.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here it is, already spread out. So that's something. So yes, you can see the name of the group. You can see the invoice number, the account ref. You can see the home name, Sage department if applicable, residence number if you number your residence, the residence name, the payee name, the invoice date, start date, end date. If it has been printed, if it has been exported for import, your invoice total, the total received, if the account was fully paid, and the method of the payment. As I said, you'll probably do your reconciliation inside Xero or Sage, but if you did want to do it inside CoolCare, if we go back to CoolCare, and hopefully I remember to change the screen this time, if I was to go back to my invoices, If I pick an invoice here, let's just do that one there. In here, I can say how much was totally received and if it was fully paid. So it's very simple. It's not a very kind of complex reconciliation. It's just a very simple one if you wanted to use it. Okay, so that is our webinar on invoicing. As I said, it will be recorded. It will be sent to you so you can watch it back again. And myself and Sam will be on for another, say, 10 minutes or whatever, if you have any more questions to ask. Okay, Sam.